Okay, I think the meeting is being recorded now. So, good evening, everybody, and everybody that's joining. My name is Princess of Yahweh. It's raining in Benin right now, so I hope it doesn't disturb my network. But if at some point you can't hear me, just write it in the chat so that I will know and I'm not talking to myself. Okay, so this is an introduction to spatial anchors. We are going to be having an AMA, Ask Me Anything with Dora from Microsoft, and myself and Israel. We just want to do an introduction to what it is so that you have an idea and so that you can also prepare questions for Adora when it's time for this session. So Israel.
Okay, good evening, guys. It's Israel again. So, um, I am Princess will be facilitating this session on introduction to spatial anchors, and we'll be giving you a little about Azure, which is what Adora will be talking about on the 29th. So, yeah, so that's just basically what we are here for today. Um, I'll be starting with a little explanatory video on what spatial anchors are. I know some of us are beginners, so we may not really know what spatial anchors are or what they are used for. Or so yeah, I'll be giving you an introductory video. This video will just be telling you what spatial anchors is before we'll be diving deep. And Princess will be explaining in details what spatial anchors are and what they are used for. So yeah, let's get started. I hope everyone can see my screen clearly.
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. So I hope you can all hear the audio.
I think it's loading, but I can't hear anything.
You can't hear the audio.
No.
Okay, let me see how.
No, I
Did you
heard that
include
before.
system audio when you share screen?
Yeah, Olumide, you said
Yeah, I think
something.
you have to.
Like when you share screen, did you include system audio? Like that checkbox.
Okay, sorry about that. I forgot. Okay,
Yeah.
so
but they all have that concept, right? So what is a cloud spatial anchor then?
okay, how about now?
Well, with Azure Spatial
Yeah, we
Anchors,
can
you
Can
can
hear.
hear it now.
upload created on your device.
Great. Okay,
HoloLens, for
let's take this
example.
back again.
So here's a cinema scene recorded with the HoloLens. And of course, the HoloLens, with having more sensors, it has a more detailed view of the real world, and it can reconstruct the spatial mesh in a little bit more detail. But again, right, it's a digital representation. This is how the device sees the world, and you can bring in content, have it interact with the real world. And but what we really want is we want to step out from our local view and stay in relation to the real world.
Okay, so this
Which
is the
means
part about
even if you
what
walk
spatial
around,
anchors
go
are.
back,
So
go forward, this anchor will stay at the exact same position. Right? So the tracking system then assigns a coordinate system, or that anchor is a coordinate system. And then on that anchor, on that coordinate system, you can attach virtual content to it. Which means if that content is anchored, if that content is related to that anchor, it will make sure it stays at that position, even if you walk around. Right? But again, the anchor is really just a location. It's not the content. You can attach any content to it if you want. So that is a spatial anchor, right? Just local on the device. And HoloLens supports it, ARKit supports it, ARCore, Magically, all of these platforms have a concept of a spatial anchor. They might just call it a little bit differently, but they all have that concept, right? So what is a cloud spatial anchor then? Well, with Azure Spatial Anchors, you can upload these anchors that you created on your device to the Azure Spatial Anchor service. And then you can have your friend, for example, come in, use its own device, download that anchor from the Azure Spatial Anchor service, then it will map that anchor from the Azure Spatial Anchor service into the device's local tracking system, and then, well, it can see the same content at the exact same position, right? So you can enable these kind of shared cross-platform experiences with Azure Spatial Anchors that normalizes these kind of different views, right? And you can persist it, right? So I can come back a week later, content is still there, I can still see it at the exact same position. Pretty hot research topic at the moment, a couple of startups in that space, as well as the big players. But I can tell you, Microsoft with Azure Spatial Anchors is really the only one that provides true persistence, right? They have really a leap forward compared to others in the market. Paris will explain later to you how the data actually looks under the hood, like what is a spatial anchor in terms of data, how the feature points are stored. But I want to go on and show you some tests and some more examples that make that abstract concept a little bit more feasible. All right. So yeah, what I said, right? Download the anchor and you can see the same data a week later at the exact same spot. All right, so here's the video I recorded with my Android phone.
Okay, sorry, I was muted. So this is like an example of spatial anchor, how it can be used. So this is a demo he did some time ago. He used an Azure Spatial Anchor to anchor this image you can see here, this reply like a signpost. So he anchored it to this point. So this is like a demo. So
As well as the HoloLens. So this is about cross-platform shared experiences. Some of you might have seen it online before, but if not, take a look. Basically, I created that anchor with my Android phone, right? So that is recorded from the Android phone. I create the anchor, upload it to the Azure Spatial Anchor service. Now, this is the first-person view of the HoloLens now, right? So I load that anchor from Azure Spatial Anchor service into the HoloLens, and then I can see the content at the exact same position. So you can see me holding my phone in front. It's really aligned really well. And so when I did these kind of tests, I was really surprised how good the accuracy actually is. It is fantastic. We're talking about centimeter range precision here, right? And again, that is not using any GPS. It's purely based on computer vision. It's purely based on the Azure GPS. You would probably get meter range kind of precision, right? And with this, with the computer vision, we can get in the centimeter range of precision. Though you can still combine both, right? It totally makes sense, actually. If you think about, you could use GPS for further narrowing down the search space. So you could say, okay, I'm only interested in all the anchor IDs that are like around me, so them later on, right? So it totally makes sense to actually use GPS or Wi-Fi IDs, Wi-Fi fingerprinting, these kind of technologies, and combine it with Azure Spatial Anchors to get to the really detailed matching and the great accuracy. Right, so this is cross-platform shared experiences. Let's take a look at persistence. So some of you might know the famous Pike Place Market in Seattle, just down the street.
okay, so we'll be stopping here while Princess gives us the explanation or the more detailed explanation on what Azure Spatial Anchors are, what they are used for. So yeah, Princess, over to you.
Oh, okay. I don't know if am I still audible? Can everybody still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay.
Yes.
So so let me just share screen. Anyway, while I'm doing that, I don't know if anyone remember back dates to the last um mixed reality exhibit that we did before, and if anyone remembers some part of the slides that I showed before. So in that slide, prior to that event, I had done some work with Unity and Viforia and some augmented reality testing. So what I wanted to do was I created a 3D box and I wanted to view it in my house. So in order to do that with Viforia, I have to like place a marker somewhere on the floor where whenever I point my phone camera to, it would the 3D box that I created would show on it. Come, let me just quickly share screen. I created one like fine doodle, and I want everybody to see it. So, okay. All right. While that is loading, so let me just present. I don't know if anyone can see my screen. Is it showing? Hello.
Yeah, it's still loading over here.
Okay. 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 Let me stop and try again. Oh.
Still loading. I don't know, it's probably from my internet. Can
I
anyone see
can
our
see
screen?
it. I can see it.
Okay, great. So you can go
Okay.
on.
All right. So, okay, what was I saying? So, yeah. So, for me to be able to view that 3D box in my room, I have to place like a special marker on the floor, and that marker could be could be any image, but I just chose an image that had so many black spots. So so that it can have some kind of depth and you can kind of see what's on the floor. The camera can point out, okay, there is really something here. So I literally printed out an image of rocks, of black rocks. I still have it here. I can't show it, but I still have it here. I printed it out, then I placed it on the floor. Then by the time I had downloaded the SDK file to my phone, when I placed my phone on top of that image, it will show the box. So that was the whole idea. So uh, so this was the whole thing there in Unity. So spatial anchors, spatial mapping make the whole thing that I did much more simpler, because now I'm not going to be using I'll still be using Unity and the other things, but I don't have to like go and print out any paper anymore. So I can just have my 3D model and take my phone and place it somewhere and pick up that point, instead of having a marker, this rocks image marker. Instead of having that, it could just be any point on the floor of my room. I don't know if anybody's getting that, but that's the point. Instead of having such marker like this placed on the floor, you just take your phone camera, or if you have an immersive headset like the HoloLens, you just focus your gaze. There is this feature on the HoloLens eye gazing, so the HoloLens knows where you are looking at, or you can use your camera and place it on the floor, focus it on the spot on the floor, and it picks up that point and the area around it. It just maps out everything around there. So even if you go and you come back and you you look at that place again with that same device, it still remembers that place. So one of the best things about it is that that point is sent up to the Azure Spatial Cloud. So that whole place is sent up there, and anybody can download it, use it in an immersive app as well, and we still go to that point. I will still be able to remember that spot. So whatever image, or like in that demo that Israel showed, that kind of signpost, supposing it was a signpost that was layered on top of that place, it will still show on that person's part as well. So that whole stress of going to print markers and do this whole thing will not work, will not be needed anymore. So it's a really exciting technology, and it really simplifies work. Although there have been like major concerns about privacy and all, because some people might want to do work and they don't want their room or whatever to be showing. So instead, what is sent up to the cloud are just hashes that look like something like this. Like they're just pods. So that is what is collected. Spot of whatever is in that room, or whatever is shown in that whole environment. So it looks like this, and it's sent up to the cloud. And whenever the person gets it, it just remembers all these spots. This is how this whole place was when the place was mapped. And so whatever 3D model was layered on it, it just layers it on top. and the viewer sees it as like, ah, this thing looks like magic, but instead, no, that whole place has been mapped. Whatever is there has been mapped on on the surface. So yeah, I hope I was even clear. Yeah, Israel, you can go on.
Okay, so I don't know if anyone has any question, but if you have your question, just keep them loading. I'm going to play one short video on how you can use Azure Spatial Anchor, one of the examples of how you can use Azure Spatial Anchor. And yeah, after that, I'll show you an example of someone actually using Azure Spatial Anchor. So yeah, let's start with the video of how you can use it, or what you can use it for.
What are some uses for Azure Spatial Anchors?
I hope
There are
everyone can see my
multiple
screen.
apps that you can create with Azure Spatial Anchors.
I hope everyone can see my screen.
Yeah, sure.
Yes,
Yeah, and the audio is also good.
Yeah.
yes,
Right.
really good use cases anytime that you need to tie a specific information to a specific place. For example, if you're in a big building and if you want your users to find their way around, you can put breadcrumbs around and they can detect these spatial anchors and find their way. Another good use case is if you're in a big supermarket or a warehouse, and it's really hard to know where things are, you can put specific product information to specific places. So when you're far away, you can see which way to go depending on your purpose. And these are all business use cases. For a more fun application, check out Minecraft Earth.
All right. So we can see from this video that Azure Spatial Anchors cannot just for probably fun or games and all that, but they are also incredible tools for businesses and all that. So, for example, I am I build a mall, and I'm trying to get my customers to find items easier. I could just integrate it into an application, also a um, something that they can use to find the items they want easier. Direct them to sections, maybe grocery section, fresh food section, and all that. So those are just few of the use cases of spatial anchors. So I'll be showing you the last video on someone actually using Azure Spatial Anchor. Though it's actually rough, but that was the reason why I chose that video. So you can see that it's not actually something difficult. It's not magic. It's a very easy something. So yeah, I'll be showing you that video now. So just let me know when it comes up on your screen. Okay, so can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
yes.
Okay. So this is someone actually setting up and then using the spatial anchor. So the first the first section of this video is actually the person setting up those anchors, placing them where they should be. Sorry, let me just pause this here and explain what he's trying to do. He's trying to set up like a direction. Maybe you have a business and you are trying to give someone the exact direction to your location, you can just set up these anchors and they can open their app. Maybe this you would have been integrated into an application, of course, so they can just open the application and then they see dots or whatever you place there as the anchor that can direct them straight to wherever you are. This is more accurate than GPS actually. So I'll continue the video here. So this is him actually dropping those boxes with some distance between them, not too far, because you need to see the next box from where you are standing at the present point. So you can actually use something else if you don't want to use the box. So like I said, this is actually a rough implementation. That was why I wanted you to see it in its rough, so you can know that yes, this is actually not magic. So the second frame is him that actually using that spatial anchor that he has set up. So after setting up that anchor, now you can see he's using it. When he gets to the next point, an arrow is pointed down and then he sees the next box. So you can actually put something like a directional arrow if you want instead of a box. It depends on you. You are the one making it, you are the one doing the whole thing. So you can actually use any icon you want, any image you want. So yeah, this is, you see how it gets from one point to another, one box to another. This is actually a rough implementation. Like I said, that is why it is slow. On an out full scale implementation, it's going to be very fast. Once you get to the next point, you're already seeing the next point in front. So this is parking. It shows you a spot where you park if you are driving. So you can see all the points, all the boxes. This is like retracing the steps. So you can see that arrow pointing that you are going in the wrong direction. I don't know if you saw that. Let me take it back. So you can see the arrow pointing that you are going in the wrong direction. This is the direction you are supposed to go in. You are supposed to be going in. But it's actually retracing the steps. So you can see all the box, all the points, all those anchors. So yeah, so this is just a rough implementation. The limitation, there are no limitation to spatial anchors. The achievements, what you can do with it, it's just totally amazing. You can use it for geotagging, you can use it in business for fun. I don't know if anyone has played GTA. I think when I used to play GTA back in the day, you you always see an arrow, something like this arrow showing in this video now. You always see an arrow pointing you in a direction. So if you actually want to implement a real life game, okay, an idea just popped in my head now. If you're organizing like a search, for those in Nigeria, you know what the Google Ultimate Search is. So something like that, you have an application that utilizes this Azure Spatial Anchor or whatever means you want to use for your spatial anchor, and then you point people in the direction of the treasure or whatever they are trying to find. So it's a treasure hunt and they have the means to find those treasure. So whoever gets there faster wins and all that. So you can use it for games, you can use it for business. The the idea is you can only imagine what you can use it for. Like, don't mind me, I'm so excited about this. So Yeah, so this is
Yeah,
basically
we're just limited by our imagination.
exactly. So these are the okay. This is just a basic introduction to what spatial anchors are and what you can use them for. I'm already talking too much, so I'm just going to round up here. So if you have any questions, you have
Also,
something.
I wanted to point out something.
Yeah, go
Yeah,
on, go on.
like in the video that Israel played when the guy was trying to know from one point to another. I think that concept is called wayfinding. Probably prior to that, the person recording that video must have gone around to map that whole lobby and place anchor points around. So when you come back again with your camera and you start going from one point to another, you are finding the other anchors. So that concept is called wayfinding.
Yeah, thank you so much, Princess. I think Princess has given us so much knowledge of spatial anchors today. So
I'll still learn it.
if you are still learning, then what will we say now? Anyway, we are all still learning. So yeah, even if you are a beginner, I believe by now you already know what you can use spatial anchors for, how you can use them, what they are. Um, okay, in case you are not very clear on what Azure Spatial Anchor is, what the Azure is doing, the Azure is a cloud service offered by Microsoft. So the services are actually much more than more than spatial anchors. They offer cloud hosting and all that, artificial intelligence integration. But Azure Spatial Anchor is actually is a cloud technology definitely. So those when you map those items, your anchors, as Princess said earlier, it sends them to the cloud, it sends the information to the cloud, and then when you need it, it fetches that information back from the cloud to wherever you need it, whatever device is running it. And I didn't play the first video for long. You would have seen where he actually went to a place he mapped more than a week ago, and those anchors were still there. So it doesn't matter the time, even if it's infinity, those anchors will still be there if you come back. So I'm already talking too much. So Princess, any other thing?
Yeah, I think when you are developing this thing like on full scale, the time for which an anchor can stay is like infinity. So you as the developer, you set the time with which you want those anchors to last. Like whatever language you are using to write, you set the time you want it to last. So yes, it can stay for as long as possible. It doesn't use GPS. It doesn't use GPS, Bluetooth, or whatever. It just uses the location you are at the moment. So that's it. I hope we have questions so that we can like bug Adora when it's time for the AMA.
Questions.
We need questions. We need questions. Or if there are not questions now, you can always drop on the group. And Israel, I think we need to like drop plenty resources so that they can read and have plenty questions.
Okay, yeah, that's true. So if you are not on the WhatsApp group, you can actually send a message here so I can add you to the group, or Princess or Jaflet. I think Jaflet is here, yeah. So Jaflet can also add you to the group. So we'll be sharing some resources there if you need to read up on spatial anchors, either generally or tailoring it towards Azure. So yeah, I'll be dropping some resources, and I think I'll make the recording to this session available so you can actually get that later, in case you need to reference something, or for those that are not here. um yeah, so our session with Adora on the 29th will be an AMA session. AMA is for Ask Me Anything. So whatever questions you have on spatial anchors, Azure spatial anchors, since you are not bringing them here, after reading those resources, you don't understand something, we'll be dropping a link to a form also You can drop your questions on that form, and Adora will be answering those questions on the 29th. So yeah, Princess, is there anything I'm forgetting?
No, I think you have said everything. I think I said everything. Thanks everyone for joining.
Okay, thank you guys, and guys, thank Princess a lot for the so much knowledge that she has given us today. So thank you
Thank
guys for
thank Israel too.
for what? I was just playing videos throughout. Okay, so yeah, I think we'll be dropping off now since no one has any question. We don't want to take so much of your time. I know we are all busy. So yeah, we'll be dropping off now. Have a nice day. For those of you that yeah, but in Nigeria here, it's actually a little past 6:30 p.m. So have a nice rest of the day and good night. All right, guys. See you later. You get your resources on the group.